Hey guys, a hot, humid day here. Thought I would get out and strip the finish off of the night cabinet. You can see using the proper safety gloves and some lacquer thinner, some 2-aught steel wool, and assortment of brushes, as you can see, to get in here in the grooves. Still got just a little bit of lacquer finish down here on these black trim pieces, but no big deal because we're going to go back over those areas with black so they'll blend in. Got all the trim pieces off the front. Still got to get back in here and do a little bit more touch up. Got the green eye excussion off, and of course remove the grill bars that were across here horizontally. Interesting, they're fastened on with screws. So still got to do some touch up on the veneer. A few loose places here I noticed right in this area, a little chip back in the back corner. I think it's going to be a pretty cool looking cabinet. Let me go get those horizontal grill slats. By the way, I'm going to just barely rub over these and see if I can really just bring more of the finish together. And you can see where I did some repairs in this area. And I still got to fill all those voids with wood filler. Okay guys, you can see a few things here at the night cabinet. I was able to get the grill cloth out. A little bit of damage there to the center, and of course the backer board has had better days. So I'll probably end up replacing the backer board and maybe even the grill cloth as well. Find something that is a good match for the period. The leftover parts here for the green eye excussion and the screws and decorative pieces here for the speaker grill, and of course the horizontal slats that I mentioned. Do a little sanding on those when we get them back in here. I've just got a little bit of veneer repair, not much to do, it looks like, right in this area as I was removing the finish. Felt the steel wool grab underneath there, so here, and here it's lifted. I think lifted here, and then I've got one more little small chip in the right back corner. I built this area up here. That section was missing. I still got to use some wood filler and continue to match this and bring it over. Let's see, how did I match that? Just a simple trick. I've showed this before. Actually use some aluminum foil and just went around the area as such for this one, and cut this out, this piece, and then just flip it over, and you can see we've got a copy for this piece. So it allowed me to just cut this corner piece out. I already mentioned the sanding is still needed on the cabinet as well, around the cutout areas where I could not remove all of the lacquer. I'll clean those up a bit as well. So let me get started here. I think I've got a thin piece of plastic that I use as a shim, that same material for the loudspeaker repairs, and just get some white glue and put them under this area, and then apply some pressure. See if I can get this to lay back down. It's pretty cool seeing this veneer wrapped around the entire cabinet, and it's in fantastic shape. So just a few small repairs and we'll be wrapped up on the cabinet. You guys can see the simple plastic strip I've got it inserted underneath the brake here. Going to apply just a little wood glue, and I'll wipe this off with a damp shop towel and some water. You can see that whole area is lifted because you can see it coming out over here. So let me go ahead and continue to work this around up underneath the loose veneer. I'll do that off camera, and then we'll focus on this area. I think I've got enough glue under those areas. Let me take this out, clean up my mess here on the wood veneer before that dries, which makes it difficult to stain over. I think I can place a piece of wax paper on there as well, just in case I have any glue seep out in this area, and put a small clamp on there when I'm done. I've got this area over here as well. Let me go ahead and focus on that now. I've got plenty of work time before I need to clamp these areas down. Worked out great. You can see I'm actually, this piece is lifted from the substrate all the way through here. So let me apply a little bead of glue on both sides. I'm just trying to work this back and forth. See if I can force enough glue underneath. Yeah, even loose I can tell back up in here. Okay, let me see if I can hit this area right here. I think that will do it. Let me go ahead and apply a little glue in this area, and then we'll do some clamping. I believe that'll hold it. I got to go after this area one more time. For folks that are new to the hobby, the wax paper just helps the glue not stick to the wood strips that I'm going to place across here, or attempt to, if I can find something compatible. I think that'll work. Not real heavy pressure, just moderate pressure. Let me get one more clamp for this side, and we'll let this set up for a few hours. This is the grain filler that I like to use, and the wood filler. It's made by Timbermate, non-shrinking, water-based. Great stuff. You can add a tint to this as well. Trans tint dyes work great. Let me go ahead and check the consistency of this. Just add a little more water if I need to. I'll build this area up just a little higher than it should be. Then just come in and sand it off flat and form it around the edge here. Then I'll go back and with my X-Acto knife and just cut out this area. You can see I'm just forming it around the area, try to fill some of these voids. Once I stand the cabinet back up, I think there'll be a little more repair work to do in this area. Let me clean up my mess here on the cabinet using some water. That's the real beauty of the water-based solution. The cleanup is only water. Okay, I know it looks rough right now, but again, I'll be sanding this down, attempting to, after it cures. I'd mentioned I was going to use a walnut-based grain filler, but I'm going to use the clear. I just didn't have enough of the other product on hand, and you can see I'm just mixing up the slurry, some warm water here, about 10 to 15% volume with the Timbermate, and just make it that type of consistency. I'll just take a cloth and rub it in. You can see I'm just doing the small sections at a time. Then I'll come in and go across the grain at about a 45-degree angle and remove as much of the product as I can. Then I'll come back in 15 to 30 minutes after this dries, do some light sanding. The stuff dries really quick, so I just like doing it in small areas at a time. And of course we'll reuse this product. Just put it back in here, add some water if I need to. You can see the areas now where the pores have been filled using the natural color grain filler. I'll be going over this with a stain so the grain filler will accept the stain. I just used a sanding pad since I've got a curvature to go across. Now I'll continue to fill the grain here around the curvature and down the front side. Again, I'll let this dry for another 15 to 30 minutes. A real light coat, low humidity room, so I'm able to let this dry quick. You can see I applied it from right to left, and you can see it's already starting to dry and haze over here. As you can see, I've worked my way down from the curvature at the top of the cabinet down to about this point. You can see the grain filler starting to dry. Let this set up for another 10 minutes or so. Sip on some coffee and take this back outside and do some light sanding. Continuing to work my way down You can see the progress so far. Got to let this continue to dry for a few minutes, and I've still got this left foot to do all the way down, and I'm only applying the grain filler down to the back side of the feet for the front, not to waste the product. And then once I get that complete, I'll focus on these sides, then do a final sand. I was going to use a lighter oak that I had, but I've also got some Fruitwood penetrating stain. I think that's one I'm going to use now since I've got the grain filled. I'm actually going to apply some to the underneath side first, just to look at the contrast. So I think we're good. I don't have to be real particular with the edge here, because again that will be black. I'll use black lacquer or go back with some gesso. Okay, I'm going to leave this as is, then I'll come back and wipe it off in about 15-20 minutes. Alright, cool. It still looks like an old cabinet, so it's definitely got some character still. And we'll come back and apply the additional stains over here on each side, and then I'll put a finish over the top of it. Decide to use lacquer, or I may actually experiment with some polyurethane. Make some wipe on and try that in a satin. Probably hard to see from this angle on the end pieces since it's a different type of wood. I used a preconditioner made by Minwax, so hopefully when I apply the stain it won't be, you know, real blotchy. Getting a little closer to getting the cabinet complete. Of course I've still got to put my clear coats over it. And you can see the black gesso that I used along the sides and the grooves here in the feet, the claw feet. So we're good there. Just a little tedious going inside all these areas. No gesso inside this area because there's a metal frame that goes on the outside. Ditto for the green eye as well. I'll let the gesso cure for a day or longer. Then we'll come back and put our final coats on here. Get the chassis back in and take a look at the radio. Thanks for watching.